Welcome to the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show with celebrity nutrition expert, fitness Hall of Famer, and 4-time New York Times bestselling author, JJ Virgin. JJ is a warrior mom whose knowledge and expertise have helped change hundreds of thousands of lives with over 3.5 million podcast downloads and appearances on Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, The Today Show, Rachel Ray, Larry King Live.
Whoa. This show is about you, not about me. I want to help you find practical, real-world ways to dial in your health and mindset so you can finally lose that weight and feel strong and energized. Stop settling for less than your personal best. It's time to find out how to look and feel better than ever. And I'll be right here with you the whole way. So today's show, I just have to say, yum. Today's show is all about yum. Today's show is really about how you can have your cake and eat it too without raising your blood sugar. I know, sounds too good to be true, but today with me, I have the CEO of No Foods, K-N-O-W, by the way, Yemeni Mesa. And turns out we have some buddies in common, our pals over at Quest Nutrition, Lisa and Tom Bilyeu. And what is super cool is he is going to talk to us today about a sweetener that literally, as I started to learn about it, I go, how could this possibly be? And why doesn't everybody know about it? It is the most amazing sweetener, and it's called Allulose. So we're going to be talking all about that with Yemeni. And he has been in this world now for years. So he was over at Quest, and now he is the CEO of No Foods. And by the way, No Foods is on a mission to disrupt the junk food market with good-for-you alternatives. They sent me this box of goodies when I was at an event. I'm like, they wanted to send me stuff, and I go, well, I'm over at this event, send it on over there. And everyone freaked out because it was waffles and donuts and muffins and cupcakes and cookies. And people were like, are you kidding me? And you're going to hear today why this is actually good for you, why you want to know about Allulose, how amazing it is. And I'm like beyond excited about the whole thing. Now, what else am I beyond excited about? Well, I get so excited about the reviews you guys leave. And I want to thank you so much if you've left a review, because it just means everything to me and my team. We look at all of these. And, when you're recording a podcast, you're sitting behind a desk with a mic going, is anybody out there? Is anybody out there? And it just is awesome when you respond. First off, we read all of them. And I also love to I always want to know, what do you want to hear more about? Because we design all of these shows based on what we're getting back from you. And I just really appreciate you subscribing, sharing it with your friends, and leaving these reviews. So I wanted to do this shout out to Stephanie. Stephanie's name in iTunes is That One Brony from Canada. And Stephanie says, amazing, 5 stars. Your podcasts are so full of amazing guests and easy ways to change your habits to have your best health ever. I binged all of your podcasts just like I would a show on Netflix. I never miss a show, and I'm hungry for the information and always look forward to each Wednesday. I finally get it, and I'm working my way to the healthiest version of my 43-year-old self. Yay! Cheers to the Sugar Impact Diet. Love you, JJ. Oh, that was perfect, because Sugar Impact Diet fits in perfectly with what we're talking about today. And also, I am now working on doing even more shows. So now we're releasing 2 a week, and I'm now going to be starting some bonus episodes. You heard it here first. I'm saying this now because it's going to force me to get it into my schedule and get these out. And I'd love to know, because I'm going to do some just with me. And I made a bunch of topics that I was thinking you guys would like to know more about, but I'd love to know what you want to know more about too. So if there's something that you would like to know, let me know. Now, we have a killer cheat sheet today at jjvirgin.com/no foods, K-N-O-W foods. And I'm going to give one of my yummiest recipes ever on there, plus a gift certificate to No Foods. All right, Yemeni Mesa.
Yes.
Did I say it right? I did say it right.
I know it's a hard one, but you got it right.
I was practicing. So welcome to the show. I'm super excited to have you here. For those of you listening, I am a big fan of No Foods, K-N-O-W. And one of the cool things that I'd never known about this, we're going to be talking about allulose today, because the first time I ever heard about it was when I got this big box of all of these amazing things from No Foods. I was like, what the heck is this? So I wanted to have you on and dive into allulose, what the heck it is, because I think everyone needs to know about this sweetener. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's almost too good to be true when you start to talk about what it is and the great benefits that you can get from it. Because, as most of us know, or at least as many of us try, sugar is something that we're trying to actively eat less of. And it's pretty hard to do because it's, as we all know, found in just about everything that we like to eat, and it's hidden in so many different things. So trying to get sugar out of our diet is no easy feat. So when something comes along that happens to be a sugar, so this isn't a sugar substitute or an artificial sweetener, it is in fact a sugar, but it's a rare sugar in a number of ways, not just in that it's rare to find. It's only found in a few different foods in nature, but also in the metabolic impact it has on our bodies and how it's digested. It's different from regular sugar in a couple of ways. One, because most of it is not digested, it just kind of passes through the same way a fiber would. It's a lot lower in calories than normal sugar. So normal sugar has 4 calories per gram. Allulose has about zero point 0.4, so it's like a tenth of the calories. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so much lower in calories. So that alone is exciting enough. But if that wasn't enough, the other really exciting thing about allulose is that it has no glycemic impact. So one of the things that's really challenging about sugar is that, as yummy as it might be, it does convert to glucose very quickly in the bloodstream, and it causes an insulin spike. And along with that insulin spike comes a sugar crash, and along with a sugar crash comes, being hungry and tired later, which just kind of repeats the whole cycle over again. Allulose, although it is a sugar, it doesn't have a glycemic response. And in fact, for many people, it seems to have quite the opposite. Often people report seeing their blood sugar drop, which it's kind of exciting.
Wow. And along with that, because one of the things I talk about in the sugar impact diet is that you've got to look beyond just the glycemic impact, because a food may not raise your blood sugar like fructose, but it still impacts your insulin. How is it with insulin?
That's one of the really interesting and exciting things. One of the recent studies that I was looking at, they were specifically looking at what is the insulinogenic response to allulose, and there is none. It's not just that there's no
Like this really does. This seems like you just said Santa Claus is real.
I know. And so the mechanisms by how and why this happens, are still a mystery to me. But we can theorize, that it's in essence like eating a sweet fiber. You get all of the wonderful properties of a sugar, including the baking and cooking properties of sugar, without the metabolic consequences. So it is pretty amazing.
It is. I remember when I first got all these things sent to me, and it's cookies and muffins and waffles and donuts.
Right.
Got to be kidding here, guys. And I served it to I served it at dinner parties. I served it to kids. I always like to challenge kids with things because they just won't eat it. They'll just go, ew. And it just was a home run. But you say, I just want to dig back in, because you keep saying it's sugar, but it's not sugar. Where is it from?
So it's found in nature, in fruits like figs, and jackfruit is another one that it's found in, maple. So it is a naturally occurring sugar. It is literally referred to as a rare sugar because of how uncommon it is to find it. But yes, that's why it's actually called a real sugar. And that's why, by the way, we have a marketing challenge as a company, because we've spent, or at least I've spent the better part of my life, whenever somebody were to ask me, like, what's the one thing I should do just to be healthier, or to lose weight, or to feel better? And I often, my response is just eat less sugar. And so now I have this product that happens to have sugar in it. And when people put the nutritional label,
it really isn't sugar, though. It should not. This is what's so frustrating about this, because I tried this, and it tastes just like sugar. I mean, it's sweet. It doesn't have any weird aftertaste. And I kind of thought, all right, so this will probably make your gut you know how a lot of those things just kill your stomach.
Yeah, this doesn't have no fermentation in the gut, so there's no GI distress associated with it, which is another one of the really cool things.
Yeah, nothing. I was expecting some problem there. I remember, I'll never forget. I went to Expo West, where you can go and try all the different new foods coming out, health foods coming out, and I decided I was going to try all the dark chocolates. And a lot of these things you already probably guessed
The
what could happen.
maltitol bombs.
Yeah, all of they were all made with all of these different sugar alcohols, and I literally had to go crawl into my car. I couldn't even drive. My stomach.
I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah, I was like going. So I looked at this and I went, all right, it tastes. It tastes. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yep.
It's called a sugar, but it really shouldn't be called a sugar. And that's problematic because it's hard for, it's like, so if it has a tenth of the calories, it really sounds much more like a fiber. It doesn't cause the GI stress. It doesn't raise your blood sugar. It doesn't raise your insulin.
Right. So, but because it's a monosaccharide, the FDA currently defines it by what it is rather than how it affects your metabolism. So, one exciting thing, and we're keeping our fingers crossed, is that the FDA is going to be reviewing this again. And in doing so, they may very well allow us to better label it on a product so people are not confused. Because right now, if you were to pick up one of our cookies, for example, and you've heard that we've got this great cookie that's very low carb or very low sugar, if you looked at the nutritional label, it would show it has a lot of sugar in it. But all but one of the sugar grams in the product they come from allulose. So changing that label will help tremendously, because we probably spend maybe 95% of our community management time on our social channels answering that very question from people.
Yeah, because you look at the label. I remember when I first got this cookie and I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not eating this, right? But, then you get the explanation. But someone would look at a label of yours right now. And how do you know what's sugar from allulose and what's just sugar? And how do you know how many carbs versus net carbs? Like, how would the consumer know how to interpret this?
Yeah, so we try to do a very good job of pointing that out on the label and kind of just doing the math equation for people, so that when they look at the label, right next to the label there, we kind of call out, here are the total carbs, here's how many of the carbs from the product are coming from fiber, here's how much comes from allulose. We back all those out, and then we're left with what our net carbs are. So we do explain it as best as we can, both in our packaging and all over our website and our social channels.
So if you see carbs from allulose, are those then not absorbed? Because you talked about a lot of these aren't absorbed. So does that mean, like, if there were 10 carbs coming from allulose, how many carbs do you count of those carbs?
If you look at our chocolate chip cookie, the label says we have 3 grams of net carbs. And this, by the way, is a great thing to walk people through, because I know it can be super confusing.
And we'll put this all in the show notes. You're also going to get in the show notes from No Foods, you are going to get a little discount code too. So you're going to want to go to jjvirgin.com/no foods, and that's KNOW, no foods, to get a 20% off coupon. And I got to tell you, I made this, I did this. I'll put this in the show notes too. I'll put my trifle in the show notes, because what I made was I took your dark chocolate cookies that are insane. So I took those and I broke them up, and then I made coconut cream. So I have a coconut whipped cream recipe that I do, and I'll put a little bit of my paleo vanilla powder in. So it's like protein whipped cream. And then we used some of your allulose sweetened dark chocolate chips, and we made a trifle with,
oh my gosh.
I know, it's like so ridiculous. And I made it for a party, and it was funny. It was a girlfriend's birthday party, and they had gotten a big cake, gluten-free cake. And then I'd made this trifle. No one ate the cake. They were literally sitting on the counter with spoons in this trifle bowl, like going crazy.
Oh my gosh.
But here it is.
The recipe posted somewhere. Where do we find that recipe?
I'm going to put it. I'll put it in the show notes. It's so good. But your cookies are they're the perfect crust. So you can take, didn't you have a cinnamon cookie, right?
We do. Yes.
It's the perfect crust to make because I'll make an almond cream cheese cheesecake. So we make a pumpkin cheesecake for the holidays, and you can use your cookie for a cookie crust. So it's incredible what you can do. Like I'm always multi-purposing everything. So these cookies are great for a variety of different things. But I remember when I first got this cookie, because this cookie's huge. It's like the size of a hockey puck. And I'm looking at the calories and the carbs. I'm like, are you kidding me? So
Right.
walk us through so someone doesn't get this, use that discount coupon at jjvirgin.com/no foods, and then go, JJ, you've lost your mind. I want them to understand how to really interpret these things. And again, because you said that the calories, it's what did you say? It was instead of 4 calories per gram, it's 0.4?
0.4, correct.
So would the calories still be the correct, or do you change something on the calories too because of the net carbs? Like, so
Yeah,
walk
no,
us.
we count them based on the grams of allulose that we have in here. So for the zero point 0.4 calories, and in truth, it's 0.2, but just to be safe, we go with 0.4. So any chancers to round in a conservative way, we tend to do that. But so one bit of good news for you is that we had a lot of feedback on that very big cookie that you tried before from our consumers, and I happen to agree with them. It was too big. And
That's what I told your buddy too. I'm like,
I know.
dude,
We all told him that. So
I was like, this is like, you could eat this. This could be your entire meal, this thing.
yes, and I don't know that I ever successfully finished one in one sitting. I would normally like eat some now and then save some for later. But they're snack size now. They're like the perfect size. They're 190 calories, so they're under 200 calories. And the thing that might throw some people off is that, first of all, delicious cookie. It's soft, it's moist, like the one that I'm holding here in my hand. It's got chocolate chips in it. There's no real sugar in the product. The chocolate chips we make ourselves, and they are based out of with allulose in terms of the sugar that we use. But what throws people off sometimes is it's pretty high fat. So 75% of the calories in this cookie come from healthy fat sources like coconut flour.
We are not afraid of fat here.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I often encounter people who are like, oh my God, there's so much fat in there. But
Oh no, we've got a sophisticated audience. They know that you need to be having more fat. It's the thing you should be eating the most of in your diet. So
I love it. And I'm so happy to hear that. I often have to remind people that we have 3 macronutrients, and 2 of those are essential, meaning we have to consume them. We can't make them internally ourselves. And one of them is non-essential. We could never eat it again, and we'd be just fine because we can make it. And that one non-essential one happens to be carbohydrates. And fat and protein are absolutely essential. So it's a higher fat cookie, and that's part of what makes it taste as yummy as it is. For anyone in your audience who happens to be keto or likes to do the ketogenic diet every now and then, it's very keto friendly because it's so high fat and so low carb. But it's also very minimal ingredients. So everything that we have in the cookie, as an example, in all of our products, they're all things you can find in your kitchen pantry, including allulose, by the way. You can buy allulose on Amazon right now and use it as your sugar substitute if you wanted to. So the ones that are available commercially to buy as just a powdered version to buy for home, I've not checked to see how they're sourcing it. So there are some forms of allulose out there that are GMO-free and some that are not. Ours is non-GMO, obviously. It's a very important tenet for our company, and we pay a premium for that, but it's more than worth it.
good. Yes, super important. Okay, so let's go through that label.
So the net carb count calculation. So this new snack size cookie, if you were to look at the total carbohydrate count, it says 26 grams of carbs. Now, I mentioned earlier, this is like a keto-friendly cookie. Most people who do a ketogenic diet, that's about as many carbs as they can have in their entire day. So something like this would never fit their strict diet, but it happens to fit because of those 26 grams of carbohydrates, 18 of those come from allulose. So there's 18 grams of allulose, and there's also 5 grams of fiber. So none of those 18 grams of allulose and none of those 5 grams of fiber have a negative impact on your metabolism. They're not being converted to glucose. They're not causing an insulin spike or a glucose spike. And so for somebody who's consciously trying to cut back on carbs for those reasons, you wouldn't want to count those carbs. So what you're left with is, of those original 26 grams, you're left with 3 grams of net carbs.
See, I just wish there was some way the FDA would like redo how they discuss this, because it's so confusing for the consumer.
I agree. It's confusing even for somebody who does this every day. Anytime a new product comes out, the first thing I do is break down the label and try to see if their labels add up. They usually never do, and then often it's not the company's fault, but it's a matter of how they're calculating a fiber. It's a matter of how they're calculating the amount of fat or whatever the case may be. So it's confusing even for those of us who do it every day, let alone for somebody who's just trying to figure out what the label says. So
now let's talk about like benefits. First, let's talk about diabetics and insulin resistance. You've already talked about people watching their carb intakes, but what about, since this doesn't impact insulin or blood sugar, I'm assuming this is totally fine for someone with diabetes.
yes, and it's a hugely popular product in the diabetic community. It's an area that we've been very active in. And one of the things that I think makes my day on an almost daily basis is the constant emails and feedbacks that we get from people who have not been able to enjoy actually good tasting diabetic foods, because there's a lot of diabetic candies and cookies and things that are out there, but most of them,
they're disgusting.
they're just not good.
And a lot of them have artificial sweeteners, which then mess up your gut microbiome. I will tell you, getting all of these products, I had to kind of overcome my own resistance, because I'm like, there is no way this is okay. Like,
I know.
You have like a dark chocolate chip cupcake.
I know.
Muffin thing. And I'm like, come on, there is no way. I had to keep going, no, it's okay. Like my one side was like, no, you shouldn't have this. And then you have these croutons. I'm like, I can have croutons again? Like, this is crazy.
So I thought very much like you, because when we taste our stuff internally and we're working with R&D to do new flavors and things like that, the first time I taste things that are amazing, that's my first reaction. It's like, okay, there's no way this is metabolically sound. And I'm kind of geeky in that way. I've got a precision extract that I walk around with, and I'm pricking my fingers all the time to check my ketone levels. So I'm pretty maniacal when it comes to this kind of stuff. And so every one of our products that we make, I personally test myself, because I want selfishly to have products that have metabolic integrity. But I had to kind of overcome that too. I'm like in my mind, I'm like, there's no way, like this doesn't add up. And I'm eating something that psychologically feels like, but in reality, I'm looking at my blood glucose response and it's flat. So it's pretty cool.
That is crazy, because like stable blood sugar is everything.
It is. And I think, I'm not like the expert in this area, but I know enough to be dangerous, and it's pretty mind boggling the epidemic that we have when it comes to diabetes and all its various forms, type 1, type 2, Alzheimer's being considered type 3 diabetes. The truly mind-blowing part about this is that in many, many cases, this can be greatly alleviated, if not entirely reversed, through proper nutrition, meaning a lot less consumption of certain types of foods.
Right. But this will, so first of all, even if you have a 90 fasting blood sugar, you are 5 times at the risk of dementia. So it's,
yes.
But this is a case where you can literally have a waffle. You can literally have a chocolate cupcake. I still was having trouble mentally believing it with all of these things. They're incredible. And I serve them at parties and everybody freaks out. So we actually served them at my wedding.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I'm telling you, like, no one's going to go, oh my gosh, this tastes like it's a healthy food. You would never know. They're made with, I think, chia
seeds, flax seeds, coconut flour, almond flour, egg whites. For the vegan community, we're not vegan. We have the one ingredient that we have in most of our products that's a non-vegan ingredient are the egg whites. Outside of that, everything else is, kind of plant-based or nuts and seeds and those types of things. So
yeah, and you have those great dark chocolate chips. This is one of those things that's so great. And I just also wanted people to be aware of allulose. Are they doing any studies now on allulose? It just seems like I'd never even heard about it until you guys pinged me.
Yeah, it's new here in the U.S., and you'll start to see a lot more food companies find ways of incorporating it into their products. The first company who ever brought it to market, a company called Quest Nutrition that I used to work with.
I just hung out with Lisa Bilyeu, and I just did a little interview with Tom. I'm like in love with both of them now.
Lisa and Tom are two of the most amazing humans on this planet. They're dear friends, and I thoroughly enjoy them in every way possible. They're just the coolest people.
Yes.
And,
yep.
But yes, so we at Quest were, I think, the first U.S. company that brought allulose to market in a food product like that. No Foods, us here at No Foods have done it as well. And I'm starting to see a lot more smaller emerging food companies, like innovative food companies, figure out, oh, there's opportunities here with these novel ingredients, and they're doing it. But to answer your question, there's been a lot of different studies, both human and animal studies, that have checked a variety of things, both toxicity, safety, efficacy. If anyone's interested in looking at any of those, we have a page on our website that specifically has links to a whole bunch of different things on allulose if you're kind of curious about learning more about it, or some of the different things going on. One of the recent studies in the Journal of Nutritional Science just truly validating what little impact there is on blood sugar response with allulose and some of the safety factors on it. So yes, there's studies on it, and there's more coming.
Cool. Well, we will absolutely. We've got a lot of fun things for everybody with this interview. So you'll be able to go to jjvirgin.com/no foods. You can get my trifle recipe.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's the craziest, yummiest thing ever. And then you will also get a 20% off gift certificate that you'll be able to use to grab some no foods. And these things are great because you can just throw them in your freezer and they stay I have waffles and muffins and donuts in my freezer. So I don't know how long they're stable for. How long can I? Yeah,
you can have them in your freezer for well over a year. They're just like any frozen item.
Well, they'll never be in my freezer for well over a year.
I know. I can imagine that happening. By the way, we have a syrup that is made of allulose as well that tastes just like regular syrup, and it pairs so perfectly with the waffles. And just imagine like what's possible today. You could have a person eat a real stack of waffles with real syrup, and that would be an absolute metabolic disaster. It would feel horrible an hour later and probably not be very functional for the rest of the day. Or you could eat a no better waffle with no better syrup and literally have no metabolic impact of any sort that's negative, and actually feel better after eating it. And the experience is virtually identical. They both taste amazing. That like our waffle might be, of all the products that we have, the closest thing to its junk food counterpart that we're trying to replace of all the things that we make.
Yeah, that waffle. So that waffle, what I like to do with that waffle is either put almond butter on it, which is amazing, or some Kite Hill almond cream cheese, or, and this could be done with your no syrup too, is to use my coconut whipped cream.
This is one of your concoctions?
Yes, it's really super simple. And then so sometimes I just take, I make my coconut whipped cream with just a little vanilla extract. And then sometimes I'll protein it up and I'll put a little bit of my vanilla protein powder in and make Pro Whip. But it is just the easiest thing to do. We put it into our coffee. We put it with, to make things like trifle. We put it, whenever I have parties, I have it. It's always a huge hit and it's just delicious. So it's awesome on whipped cream, and then you can make the trifles. It's the foundation for trifles too. So
I like it. I've used the waffles to make a pizza crust before, so I'm a big pizza fan. So I kind of want to make a waffle pizza.
Wow. Well, you also have, don't you have bread mixes now too?
We do. We have a few different mixes. There's a pancake mix. There's a cupcake cake mix. And bread mix. And
I'm going shopping again. I was like, okay, I've been out of the loop a little bit, so time to get a restock. Clearly,
yes. One on the cookie side, we did launch a peanut butter flavor. That's only our number one.
Wow.
And I know peanut butter's not on everybody's list, but oh gosh, it's pretty yummy.
Yeah, generally it's one of the ones I tend to pull out, but I will have it now and then. So. Because there's nothing like a great peanut butter cookie.
I know. And you can put some almond butter on it, so to kind of
there you go.
Get a little more creaminess going in there. It's pretty good.
Yummy. All right. Well, I super appreciate everything. I want to remind everyone, grab the show notes at jjvirgin.com/no foods. That is spelled KNOW foods. And thank you so much for being on with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All righty. Now, after the break, I'll be answering a listener's questions, so stay with me.
Want a better quality of sleep while also calming your brain? Now, there's a great tasting way to do it. JJ Virgin's lemon-flavored sleep candy contains amino acids and nutrients to help you naturally fall asleep with ease. This gluten-free, non-GMO, dairy-free sleep assistant also helps you stay asleep so you feel rejuvenated and more relaxed. So if you want to get a better night's sleep, visit www.jjvirgin.com/products and try JJ Sleep Candy.
Welcome back. This is the time where we answer a listener's question. And I love to grab these off my social media platforms. Easiest ones for you to jump on and shoot me a question are Instagram at jj.virgin or Facebook, JJ Virgin Official. And I like to match them up with what's going on in the podcast. So this one was like perfect. Thank you, Fran from Asheville, who said, I can't get over my sugar cravings. Help. I actually wrote the Sugar Impact Diet, and because of this very reason, when I wrote the Virgin Diet, the biggest question I got asked was about sugar. People were either confused by it or controlled by it, or worst of all, both. And so I thought, all right, you know what? I am going to help people who are known sugar addicts. They cannot stop, get through this. And I can do it in 2 weeks or less. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is you got to figure out, like, why the heck am I craving all the sugar? Is it genetics? Because actually genetically, some people have a sweet tooth or a sweet taster. I'm fortunately not one of those. My mother, my adopted mom, has a major sweet tooth, always has, and is a sugar pusher. So I'm sending her some no foods for the holidays, and it is going to be super cool because this will be the easiest way to help her, because she's just one of those people that she likes to have a little sweet. So this is a legal sweet for her. So it could be your genetics, could be exposure equals preference. The more sweet you eat, the more sweet you want. Could be stress, which lowers serotonin and makes you want to grab some sugar. It could be insulin resistance or diabetes causing unstable blood sugar. Or it could be something going on with your gut microbiome. Maybe you got gut bacteria or yeast that are making you crave the sugar. Couple cool things here. Number one is that you can satisfy your sweet tooth now with no foods. Now, the only thing will be is if you do have anything going on with egg intolerance, and you'll know that by doing the Virgin Diet, then sadly enough for you, you won't be able to use some of the no foods items, but some of them you can. So you can use this to help kind of taper down. But what I find with people with sweet tooth is the best place to start. And if you look at the Sugar Impact Diet, what I teach you is to not go cold turkey, to taper down. And it's really about starting to stabilize your blood sugar. And that's why I love these products that Yemeni was just talking about, is they help stabilize your blood sugar. They don't cause that crash that's going to make this thing worse. So what I find is if you start really making sure you're getting enough healthy fats in your diet, that's avocado and coconut and nuts and seeds and wild salmon, get enough good healthy fats, get some clean protein, and get a lot of fiber from low carbs. And that helps stabilize your blood sugar, and that helps to make a big shift. Then start to focus on making sure that you're getting some spicy, some savory, some salty, instead of always focusing on the sweet. Retrain your taste buds to start to appreciate that. Eating by that plate of the fat, fiber, protein can help balance blood sugar. So that's super important. That can help start to resolve the insulin resistance or blood sugar instabilities. Managing stress is a key one. Making sure that you're really eating the fiber that is really important for a good, healthy gut microbiome, and lowering any of the sugars. In the Sugar Impact Diet, we have you identify where all the sugar is sneaking in so that you make sure you're not getting that sneaking in, which can feed the bad bacteria in your gut and create problems. And then again, making sure that you are retraining your taste buds to appreciate the natural sweetness. And honestly, I see no foods as a great little way for you to get that treat in without sabotaging. And I'm such a great one to test these things on, because if I eat sweet and real food with real sugar, it just crashes my blood sugar and I feel crappy. That's why when I ate these things, I went, oh my gosh, these really do work. So that's why I was so excited to have them on today. And I want to remind you, jjvirgin.com/no foods. Get the show notes, get my great recipes, grab the discount coupon for no foods. Enjoy. And I will see you on the next show. Bye-bye.
That's all for this episode of the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show, which marks another step towards a healthier body and mind. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and we'll talk to you next week.